Okay, this is lesson 2. You're going to need your journal, pages 333 to pages 337. Today we're going to be generating or making equivalent fractions. I've kind of already shown you how to do that, so this lesson is almost like a review of what we learned the past 2 days. But we're going to start here with problem number 1. Sarah needs 3/4 cup of dish soap to make homemade bubble solution. Her measuring cup is divided into 8ths. What fraction of the measuring cup should Sarah fill with dish soap? So the first thing they want us to do is to shade to model 1/4 using 4th size parts. So we're going to shade in 1 out of 4. And over here, they want us to shade in 8 size parts that are going to equal 1/4. Well, I've showed you if you have 1/4 and you want to go to 8ths, okay, it'll look like this. You're going to think to yourself, 4 times what number is 8? And the answer is 2. So if I multiply by 2 to the denominator, I have to multiply by 2 to the numerator. And 2 times 1 is 2. And that's why we are shading in 2 parts, because 2/8 is equal to 1/4. Then we're going to go find how many 8ths you would need to make 3/4. So it says shade 3/4. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to shade these 3 out of 4 parts. And then here they're already giving us the answer, but I want to show you why they're shading in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So you could compare the two rectangles and see that 6 parts is equal to these 3 parts. But here's another way. If you have 3/4 and you want to know how many 8ths are equal, you're going to say to yourself, how many times 4 times what number would equal 8? And the answer is 2. So if you multiply by 2 to the denominator, you have to multiply by 2 to the numerator. And 2 times 3 is 6. That's why we are shading in 6 parts, because 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8. So you will need 6, I forgot to fill in the answer up here. We need 2/8 to make 1/4 size parts, and here we need 6/8 parts to make 3/4 size parts. So Sarah should fill 6/8 of the measuring cup with dish soap. Explain why 6/8 parts is the same amount as 3/4. Okay, well, it says explain. I think if you multiply both numerator and denominator, or we could actually divide this by 2, so you get 6/8. And we showed that right here, so I'm sorry you couldn't see that. If you multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2, you get 6/8. 6/8 is equal to 3/4. We could have also said if you divide both the numerator and denominator by 2, you'll get 3/4. So if you had 6/8, you divide by 2, you will get 3/4. Okay, so that's page 333. Now let's go to page 334, right here. Okay, they're showing you on this page the exact same thing that I just taught you. So right here we've got 1/2 is equal to how many? 6. Think to yourself, 2 times what number will equal 6? And the answer is 3. So if we multiply the denominator by 3, we also have to multiply the numerator by 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. So 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Okay, let's do another one. We've got 1/2, and here they are changing it into, if you count the parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 8s on the bottom, and you can look at the picture to see the answer. They've got 4 shaded in here, but I want to show you why. 2 times what number is 8? Well, 2 times 4 is going to equal 8. If I multiply the denominator by 4, I must also multiply the numerator by 4, and I will get 4 8s. Now, I don't know if you remember from the video, when you're multiplying to make an equivalent fraction, let's just say I had a whole number and I want 8 times 1, I'm going to get 8. Well, if I have, say, 3 8s, and I'm going to multiply by 1, I'm going to get an answer that's equal, because 8 is equal to 8. Well, let's say we multiply this by 2 over 2. 2 out of 2 also equals 1 whole of something. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 times 8 is 16. So 3 8s would be equal to 6 16ths. Just like 8 is equal to 8. You're multiplying a fraction that is actually 1, so you're getting the same answer, because 1 times any number is going to be that number. So here you are multiplying by 1 to get another fraction that is the same. All right, on 1/2, we are multiplying, we're going into tenths. So I want you to think to yourself, 2 times what number is 10? The answer is 5. So if we multiply by 5 on the denominator, we have to also multiply by 5 to the numerator. And 1 times 5 is 5. You could also see that 5 is half of 10, so you know that 5 tenths is equal to 1/2. So here they have 1/2 is equal to 3 6, is equal to 4 8s, is equal to 5 tenths. And you'll notice for half, all of these, 3 is half of 6, 4 is half of 8, 5 is half of 10. Okay, look at the model that shows 1/2 is equal to 3 6. How does the number of parts in the whole affect the number of parts that are shaded? Okay, the model 3 6 has 3 times as many parts shaded. Explain how you can use multiplication to write a fraction that is equivalent to 3/5. Okay, you will multiply both the denominator and numerator by the same number. And then we'll just give an example here. So we've got 3/5, and we want to make an equivalent fraction to 3/5. So pick any number. We could even do 100. 3 times 100 would be 300, and 5 times 100 would be 500. Okay? So it says, are 2/3 and 6/8 equivalent? Okay, can I multiply 3 by something and get 8? The answer is no. So that's one way I can tell these are not equivalent. I could also do this. We can cross multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. 8 times 2 is 16. They don't equal each other, so these two are not equivalent. All right, so let's go to page 335. So we're making some more equivalent fractions. We've got 2/3 and we're going to make 4/6. So they want to know, like, what are we multiplying by to get the 4/6? So you say to yourself, 3 times what number is 6? And the answer is 2. So I multiply by 2/2 and I get 4/6. Here we have 3/5 and we are equaling it to an equivalent fraction of 6/10. So you're saying to yourself, 5 times what number is 10? The answer is 2. And we check that. 3 times 2 is 6. So 3/5 is equal to 6/10. Okay, here we've got 12s. So you have to say to yourself, 3 times what number equals 12? The answer is 4. So if we multiply 4 to the numerator, we get 4/12. All right, so number 2 asks us to write 2 equivalent fractions. So we can actually pick pretty much any numbers that we want here. For example, if we did 2 out of 2, to multiply, 4 times 2 would be 8, and 5 times 2 would be 10. You can pick whatever number you want here. Usually it's easiest to just do 2 and then do 3, but you could do 10, you could do 5, whatever you want to do. We could even do 8 if we want. Let's put it 8/8. 4 times 8 is 32. 5 times 8 is 40. So 4/5 is equal to 8/10 and 32/40. All right, let's go to 2/4. We're going to multiply. Let's do 2/2 first. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Let's do 3. 3/3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 4 times 3 is 12. So 2/4 is equal to 4/8 and 6/12. So what I'd like you to do, this says on your own, is go ahead and try 4 through 10. So pause the video and try to work 4 through 10 on your own, and then unpause it to see if you did the problems right. Okay, so I'm going to, here I'm going to multiply by 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Then I'm going to try multiplying by, let's say, 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 6 is 18. You can use whatever numbers you want. I'm just kind of doing 2s and 3s because they're the easiest ones to remember. All right, here 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 10 is 20. All right, let's multiply by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 10 is 30. All right, 2/5. Now, if you're having a hard time seeing that, I'll go ahead and write it up here. 2/5 times 2 out of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. Or I can multiply by 3/3. 2 times 3 is 6. And 5 times 3 is 15. And I'm getting equivalent fractions. Okay, Down here, tell whether the fractions are equivalent. Okay, one way to do this is to think 6 times what number is 18? Well, that's 3. So 3 times 6 is 18. Is 3 times 5 10? No. So that means these are not equivalent. You could have done 18 times 5 and 6 times 10, but I don't really know what 5 times 18 is, so that's kind of harder to do there. All right, let's see this one. Can I take 5 times something and get 10? Yes, I can multiply by 2. So if I multiply by 2 on the denominator, I have to multiply by 2 on the numerator. 2 times 4, is that 8? Yes, so these are equal. Now, I know that 5 times 8 is 40, and I know that 10 times 4 is 40. That's another way you can tell by cross-multiplying. Okay, can I multiply 5 by something and get 10? Yes, 2. 2 times 1, is that 4? No, so these are not equal. Or I could have done 5 times 4 is 20, and 10 times 1 is 10. 10 and 20 are not equal. Okay, can I multiply 4 by something and get 8? Yes. By 2, 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Oh, those are equal. Okay, or I could have cross-multiplied. 8 times 1 is 8, and 4 times 2 is also 8. Okay, let's turn the page. Kim says the amount of flour in the recipe can be expressed as a fraction. Is she correct? So let's find the flour here. So I've got 1 tablespoon of flour. That's 1 whole tablespoon. It's not a part of a tablespoon. So if we had 1 whole, we could either use eighths. We could use 8 out of 8 tablespoons of flour. We could do halves. We could do 2 out of 2 tablespoons of flour. We could use fourths. We could do 4 out of 4. So when something is a whole, we just have to put it as a fraction, like 4 out of 4. You have the whole tablespoon there. Okay. How could you use a 1/8 measuring cup to measure the light corn syrup? So I'm looking up here at the light corn syrup. The light corn syrup is 9/12. Well, I can't change 12ths into eighths. Like there's nothing that I can multiply 8 by to get 12. But I can reduce the 9/12 to 3/4. If I take 9/12 and I divide by 3 and I divide by 3, I will get 3/4. Now, can I change fourths into eighths? Yes. So I could take 3/4 is equal to how many eighths? All right, 4 times 2 is 8, so 3 times 2 is 6. So I would need 6/8 cups, 6 1/8 cups to equal the 9/12. Not 6 1/8, but 6 1/8 cups. I'd have to keep doing 1/8 until I had 6 of them, and that would equal 9/12. Okay, explain using words how you know a fraction is equivalent to another fraction. I love when we have to use words. So if you multiply, it's the same thing. If you multiply the numerator and denominator of the first fraction by the same number, I'm going to abbreviate number here, by the same number, and the products are the numerator, I'm going to abbreviate that, and denominator of the second fraction then they are equivalent. Okay, that's how you would explain that using words. That takes a lot of time. I'm just going to show you that. 1/4. Let's see if it's equal to 8/16. Okay. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 4 is not 8. So these are not equivalent. All right, here, Kyle drank 2/3 cup of apple juice. Fill in each box with a number from the list to generate equivalent fractions for 2/3. Not all the numbers will be used. Okay, let's start here with the 3 and the, oops, sorry, you can't see that. 3 and the 6. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. I'm going to try to turn on the light here. So 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, next up we're going to change into, let's think, what can I multiply by 2 to get 12? The answer would be 6. So 3 times 6 is 18. And then let's do 12ths, because I can take 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. All right, one more page here. This is kind of for your practice before you go on to do the assignment for today. Write 2 equivalent fractions for each. So here they did 1/3 times 2/2. Here they did 1/3 times 4/4. So here you can actually multiply by any numbers that you want. Let's do 2/3 times 2/2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. If I multiply by, let's do 5s. 5s are fun. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. You'll get 2 equivalent fractions. So going on, 1/2, we could do times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. We could multiply by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 4/5. Let's do by 2 out of 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. Let's do times 3/3. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. Tell whether the fractions are equivalent, right? Equal or not equal. Well, let's do just real quick cross multiplying here. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. These two are equal. Another way we could do this is 5 times 2 is 10, is 4 times 2 is 8, so that didn't match. That's another way to do that. Or we could have cross multiplied. Let's cross multiply here. 8 times 2 is 16, 6 times 3 is 18. That tells me these are not equivalent. And really what I'm doing there when I'm cross multiplying, let me just show you real quick here. 3/8. If we multiplied by 2 out of 2, we would get 6/16. Now that's not a good way to explain that. Here we are multiplying by 6, 6. to get 18 out of 48. Over here, we're multiplying by 8 over 8. That's a better way to show this. And that would be 16 out of 48. And so we see that 18 out of 48 and 16 out of 48 do not equal each other. Let me explain that better over here. Okay, so when we're cross multiplying, like I'm multiplying by 8, 3 times 8, but really what we're doing is multiplying by 8 eighths. So 3 times 8 is 24, 4 times 8 is 32. So I know that 3/4 is equal to 24/32. And then I'm going to multiply 6 eighths by 4ths. Okay, I get 32 on the bottom. 4 times 6 is 24. So I've got 24 32s and 24 32s. Oh, are those going to be equal? Yes. So when we're cross multiplying, we're really multiplying by another whole, but I just shortened the process a little bit. Okay, 6 times 10 is 60, 5 times 12 is 60. That means these two are equal. 5 times 12 is 60. 6 times 8 did just great with the number 48. Those are not equal. 5 times 4 is 20. 10 times 2 is 20. Those are equivalent. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Those two are not equal. Okay, Jan has a 12-ounce milkshake. 4 ounces in the milkshake are vanilla. So 4 out of 12 are vanilla. And the rest is chocolate. It says, what are 2 equivalent fractions that represent the fraction of the milkshake that is vanilla? Okay, so we have to find 2 fractions that are equivalent to 4/12. I can think of a couple ways we can do this. We can multiply, or we could also divide. If we did 4 divided by 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we've got 2 6. We could also multiply. We could double it. 2 times 4 is 8, and 12 times 2 is 24. That would equal. We could have also divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 12 divided by 4 would be 3. Any of those answers are correct. Kareem lives 4/10 of a mile from the mall. Write 2 equivalent fractions that show what fraction of a mile Kareem lives from the mall. So we are making 2 more equivalent fractions to 4/10. We could multiply by 2. We could do 4 times 2 is 8, and 10 times 2 is 20. We could also divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we could also get 2/5. And this would be the simplest fraction. We're going to get to that soon. Explain how you can determine if 1/3 and 4/12 are equivalent fraction. Let's see if you cross multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. I'm just going to say cross multiply. When I mean cross multiply, I mean go like that. Okay, that's all for today. Then after finishing these workbook pages, you are going to go ahead and do the 6.2 assignment on Clever. Think Central, things to do.